guys, so today I wanted to talk about something that's pretty important, and that's why you shouldn't speed. It's something that everyone tells you, your teachers, your friends, your parents, your driver's ed coach. Everyone tells you, but no one ever really listens. They give you the same reasons over and over again. It doesn't really stop anyone. So I wanted to talk about the reasons that make it so I don't speed as frequently. So I've come up with 5 lesser known reasons not to speed. And all of my sources for this are in the description. I didn't put them in LMA format or anything like that. It's just the links. I figured that would be easier for anyone anyway. So if you want to fact check any of these, if you want to send them to your friends or your kids or anything like that, all the links are in the description. Reason number 1, it actually doesn't save you that much time most of the time. So like, say your destination is 10 miles away and the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. If you go 40 miles an hour, in theory, you'll save 5 minutes. However, that doesn't take into account traffic lights, stop signs, pedestrians, all of these things that you have to stop for. So when you take those into account, it doesn't actually save that much time. You end up speeding for no reason. The only time that you would really be saving time by speeding is on long multi-hour road trips where you're doing predominantly highways, because a lot of times then you're not having those obstacles in the way. And if you go 10 or 20 over the speed limit, then you might save some time, but there are reasons not to do that later on. So speaking of not speeding on highways is reason number 2, which is faster speeds increase injuries and fatalities. This is one you probably have heard, is if you go faster, you'll get hurt, all of that stuff. But I don't think anyone really knows or acknowledges to the extent of which you can get hurt from it. So 1/3 of fatalities in accidents are related to speeding. I don't really know how they measure that necessarily. I don't know if the people admit that they were speeding. I can't imagine that anyone would. The other thing is in 1996, speed limits were raised. And when speed limits were raised, car crash fatalities increased by 15%, which is a pretty substantial number. So yeah, don't speed on highways. Reason number 3. You need a longer stoppage distance if you think that something is wrong. If you're speeding, obviously you're going faster than the speed limit, which covers more distance than if you were going the speed limit. That also means that it takes longer to stop, which makes sense. If you're going 60 when you're supposed to be going 50, you're going faster, so you have to stop harder. And you're also covering more distance per second if you're going faster. If you're going 60 miles an hour, you can stop the car in about 4.5 seconds. But in that 4.5 seconds, you're going about 88 feet a second. So you would need to leave about 300 feet of stopping distance between you and the car in front of you, which most people don't do. Like, I don't know if you've seen city traffic or even traffic in just regular highways. People are bumper to bumper all the time, way too close. So because of this, rear-ending is really common, because if someone sees a bird or an animal, a pedestrian or a cop, and they slam on their brakes to slow down, you don't have enough space between you and the car in front of you to stop. So you'll often hit the person in front of you. Reason number 4, and the one I personally think is most important, and this is the one that stopped me from speeding in suburban areas. Fatality probability based on speed, which pretty much means the faster you go, if you hit a pedestrian, you're more likely to kill them. And a lot of people don't really think about this. They're like, yeah, if I go 40 into 30, whatever, it doesn't seem that much faster. But to the pedestrian you hit, that could really be the difference between life and death. So if someone is hit at a speed of 30 miles an hour, there's approximately a 9% chance of fatality, that they won't live through it. 9% chance still isn't great. It's about 1 in 10. So it's still not fantastic, but If someone is hit at a speed of 40 miles an hour, that probability of fatality goes up to 50%. So that 10 miles an hour you just had to do to go faster, to get to work, to get home, just because you didn't want to wait, could really be the difference between a 1 in 10 chance of living and a 1 in 2 chance of living. And if you're a real speedster and go 50 miles per hour in a 30, there's about a 90% chance of fatality. So there's a really low chance that whoever you hit, or if you get hit, probably not coming out of it alive. And all of these have a really high probability of severe injury. Of course, going the speed limit having the lowest probability. So this is why it's really important for people to drive the speed limit in suburban areas, because that's where the people are. If you go over the speed limit on the highway, normally the only other people are the other cars around you. So if you hit one of the other cars around you, it's one giant metal box versus another giant metal box, and these all have safety things built into them, like seat belts, airbags, stuff like that. So you're less likely to get severely injured. But in suburban areas, a lot of times it's people walking or biking or running, something like that, where they're not protected. So then it becomes one giant metal box versus one little squishy boy. And reason number 5, which is the one people do talk about pretty frequently, which is you save money when you go the speed limit. There are tickets and gas mileage. We'll talk about tickets first just to get them out of the way, because this is what everyone talks about. It's one of the most popular reasons that people don't speed, is because they're afraid they're gonna get caught by a cop, they're gonna get pulled over, and then they're gonna get a ticket, which can be pretty hefty in price depending on how much you're speeding. And if you're young and you're on your parents' insurance, they're gonna be really unhappy that you got that speeding ticket because you had to go 70 in a 55. Because when you get a ticket, it goes on your driving record, which then will often make your parents' insurance go up, or your insurance go up if you're on your own insurance. So, trust me, going that extra 20 miles an hour, that isn't really gonna save you time, remember, to have to pay money, and then also your insurance goes up, so you're paying more money every month for your car insurance, is really not worth it. And the other thing is, if you're speeding significantly over the limit, if you see that cop going back to stopping distance, you're not going to be able to slow down in time. Or if you try to slow down really fast and you have someone riding your bumper, they might rear end you. So now you have a ticket for going too fast and a bumper that needs to be fixed. There's also a reason that speed limits are often 55 miles an hour on highways. It's not just an arbitrary number that someone picked out for funsies. It's because President Nixon pushed for the 55 miles per hour speed limit to try to get us off of reliance of foreign oil. When you go 55 miles an hour, that's an ideal range for most cars. 55 miles an hour was pushed because it has great gas mileage in that range. When 55 miles per hour was the speed limit all over America, it saved an estimated 9 million gallons of gas a day. So if you go 55 miles an hour on the highway, like it tells you to, you don't burn up gas as quickly, which gas prices are going up again, at least where I live, and if I don't have to fill up my tank as frequently, I don't want to. Okay, so that was my 5 reasons not to speed. I'm sure a bunch of you have heard those already, but hopefully they'll try to prevent you from speeding, at least in some cases. I find it's most important not to speed in suburban areas because you could potentially take someone's life. It's a really big deal. You don't see going 40 in a 30 as that big of a deal until a kid is running across the street, and because you need more stoppage distance, you hit them, and since you were speeding, you also did twice the damage. So let me know what you thought of this video. Leave a like if you liked it, and comment what you thought. I'm here for constructive criticism. If you thought it was bad, if you're gonna speed anyway, if this helped, please let me know. Share it with your friends and family and kids if you think it'll prevent them from speeding and potentially harming someone or getting a ticket or really any reason. And subscribe if you want to see more. This is going to be probably a predominantly political channel, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna branch out into other things because this probably isn't ever going to be a popular channel, so I can kind of do what I want. So yeah, if you have any video ideas, any topics you want me to cover, anything like that, let me know. All my sources are in the description, and stay safe. Bye.